Hi everybody. Today we are going to enjoy a little restorative yoga together. The focus is on our chest, so lots of chest opening types of poses. I think you'll just feel good all around. So most of the poses are held for anywhere from 1 minute to 8 minutes traditionally. I'll try to call that out before we start the pose. For the purposes of the video, I probably won't hold those poses for that length of time, but you can always pause the video and stay in that pose as long as you wish. Traditionally, the longer you stay in some poses, the better it is for your body. So if it feels good, stay there. The props today that are needed will be blocks, bolster, blanket, perhaps a strap. So just make sure you've got it all. So I'm gonna move over to the mat and we'll get started. And what we'll first do is grab a bolster or blanket and sit on top of that or toward the edge. That helps to open up our hips just a little bit, let our knees fall away. And then go ahead and close your eyes and begin to focus on your breath. And just feel that rhythm of the inhale and your exhale. And then begin to consciously lengthen the breath. And as you're breathing, begin to notice your belly inflate. And then the lower area of your ribs inflate just a bit. And then consciously try to breathe in enough air so that that air goes all the way up to your collarbones, expanding your chest. And then on your exhale, begin to exhale that breath starting from your collarbone to your ribs, and then your belly. And then inhale, filling up your belly, your lower ribs, and collarbone. And then exhale, begin to release that air starting at your collarbone, your ribs, and your belly. Inhale, filling up your belly, your ribs, up to your collarbone, and then exhaling, starting from your collarbone, your ribs, and your belly. On your next inhale, I want you to focus on opening up those ribs on the side of your body. So belly, your ribs on the side, all the way up to your collarbone. And begin to release that air, collarbone, ribs, belly. And inhaling again, starting at your belly. And we're going to open up the ribs in our back area. Really press your lungs into that area. And then up to your collarbones. And then exhaling, starting from the very top, collarbone, ribs, and belly. One more inhale, starting at your belly. And then the full 360 of your ribs. The front, the sides, the back, and then up to your collarbones. And then begin to release that air from your collarbones, your ribs, and your belly. And then just come back to your natural breathing pace. Go ahead and open your eyes. Move that blanket over to the side. We're going to transition into fish pose. So with fish pose, what you'll need is 2 blocks. We'll set one block down horizontally on the mat, that's going to go behind our head, and the other one vertically on the mat, and that's going to go right where our shoulder blades are. And when we lay down, we're going to open our arms out to a T. Our chest and our shoulders are going to open up quite a bit on this one. So you can have the block on the low setting or the medium setting. It's entirely up to you. I will choose the medium setting for today. And what you want to do is sit with the blocks right behind you. Rest your body first down onto that vertical block, right where your shoulder blades are. And then bring your head back onto that block that's horizontal. Straighten out your legs, and then bring your arms out to a T. And we're going to stay here for 3 minutes. And just stay with that nice, slow, long breath that we started off with. Just enjoying your first pose. If you want, and you want your legs to relax just a little bit, let your feet go over to the side. You can also spread your legs out just a little bit more, maybe about mat width distance. On your next exhale, bring your legs together, bend your knees, place your feet onto the mat, and then roll over to one side, coming off of those blocks. Use your hands and press yourself up. So we're going to take those blocks and set them over to the side. And then we'll take a blanket and place that on the left side of our mat. We're going to come to a rising sunrise twist, and with this we're going to have a little bit of a hip opener. So the blanket is for our leg, or our ankle. ankle to rest on top of that blanket. So if you've got a hard surface, the blanket feels really good. Even if you have a soft surface, the blanket feels good. So we're going to lay on our left side. Both arms are in front. Left arm's on the floor, right arm is stacked in front. And I'm going to straighten my right leg out onto the blanket. You're going to get a big stretch in that right hip. This also helps to anchor your right side of your body forward when you open up your chest for this pose. If you're finding it difficult to bring that right arm back behind you and having it on the floor, grab a block or a bolster so that your arm can rest there. So on an inhale, and we're going to be in these poses 3 minutes on each side. Take an inhale, raise your right arm up, bring it all the way back behind you. Gaze can be up toward the ceiling or over your right shoulder. On an inhale, raise your right arm up and over, joining your left. If you want to stay in this pose longer, go ahead and do that. And I'm going to try to remind you to do that throughout this practice. Bend your right knee, and then we're going to flip over onto our right side. So lay on your right side, right arm is in front, left arm stacked on top. Straighten the left leg, let it rest on that blanket. And then on an inhale, raise your left arm up and over behind you. Gaze can be up toward the ceiling or over your left shoulder. Now bring that left arm back up and over. Bend your left knee. Use your hands to press yourself up. So now we're going to come into a bit of a back bend. And you can choose to do this a couple of ways. One, you can use a block, or you can use your blanket and roll that up a bit and use that right underneath your body. Or you can grab your bolster. I'll grab my bolster. And remember, block, blanket, or bolster. So set whatever prop you want on your mat. And then you're going to come and sit toward the edge of it. Bring your hands behind that prop and then walk your body down. Let that prop support your sacrum, so that bony part of your pelvis. And then straighten out your legs. Arms come up and overhead. So traditionally we would hold this pose for 5 minutes. I am going to hold this pose in this video for 3 minutes. Again, you can pause the video at any time to lengthen out any pose you want if you want to stay in it longer. Take an exhale, bending your knees. And then on an inhale, press into your feet, raise your hips up off that bolster, block, or blanket. Slide it out from underneath you. And then slowly lower down. Roll over to one side. Using your hands, press yourself up. Then we're going to take that bolster and slide it across our mat. take the blanket and open it so that it is folded twice, or about yay size, so I would say 4 by 3 or 2.5, and then fold it in half lengthwise and fold it in half one more time. We're going to place that right underneath our backs, so right below where your shoulder blades are is where that blanket will go. The bolster will support the backs of your knees. If you want, you can grab another blanket and fold that to make a pillow to put under your head. Now this pose we're traditionally in for 10 minutes. I'm going to stay in for 3 again for the video. You can pause it if it feels good and you want to stay in there for the full 10 minutes. Please do that. It's really good for your body. Helps to open up your chest. Also helps to move that thoracic spine just a little bit. For all of us who lean over a little bit on our phones, on our computers, doing dishes, steering wheel, whatever it is, we tend to lean over quite a bit and arch our back in the downward position. So this helps to get it back and lengthened and nice and long. So it's a good pose for you. So go ahead and sit between the bolster and the blanket. Rest your legs on top of the bolster. And then rest your body down on top of that blanket. Make sure the top of that blanket is right at the bottom of your shoulder blades. Let your shoulders come down onto the mat. Your head is down onto the mat. Arms can be out to a T. Again, we'll be here for 3 minutes, but if you want to stay for 10, go ahead and do that. You can stay in this pose as long as you wish. Always come back to that nice, steady breathing when you're in any of these positions. It'll help your body to relax and open up over the props. transition out of this pose, bend your knees, placing your feet on that bolster. Push it down toward the end of your mat. Bend your knees again. Roll over to one side and use your hands to press yourself up. So now we're going to come to a side angle pose. It's going to open up our whole side angle here, help our spine open up laterally, which will be nice. With more movement in our spine, we have more movement to open up our chest and just feel good in general, just nice openers. So to do that, we'll start on our left side first, and I'll bring that bolster over to the side. We're going to sit with our knees bent. We can add a little bit of a hip stretch in here too. So we'll lay the blanket over to the left side of our mat. So the bolster is going to be about 6 or more inches away from us. What we want is that bolster to actually support our side ribs. Then we're going to take a blanket. We're going to place that toward the top of our mat. That's going to be used for our head. So we're going to come into this pose. The bolster supports us, the blanket supports our head, and then once we get into the pose, our right arm is going to come up and over and rest over our heads. If you want, you can grab a block to let your hand rest on top of that block. Okay, so I've got a block up the head over there. And then if you want a little bit of a hip stretch, this time we're going to straighten our bottom leg. So we'll sit with our legs bent, lay down on top of that bolster. Left arm comes down. I'm going to take that blanket, put it right underneath my head, and take my right arm, bring that up and over, let my hand rest on that block, and then I'm going to straighten my left leg out onto that blanket. And so we'll be here for 3 minutes on each side, and that's the traditional length. But again, if you feel like you want more time, pause the video at any moment and allow yourself to be in that pose for as long as your body wants. If this stretch is too much for your shoulder, you can always rest it down by your side. transitioning out of this pose, bring your right arm up and over. Using your hands, press your body up. And then we're just going to move to the other side. So for me, I'm going to move the bolster so I don't have my back towards you. And I'll move the blanket and the block. So right hips are toward the bolster, maybe about 6 inches away. It just depends on the length of your body. Lay our body down, let that bolster support our ribs. Right arm comes down, head comes down on top of that blanket. And then I'll bring my left arm up and over. I'm going to straighten out my right leg just to get that same stretch on that side of the body. It's very subtle. And then again, we'll be here for 3 minutes on this side. To transition out of this pose, bring your left arm back up and over. Using your left hand, press your body up. So now we're going to come to Supta Baddha Konasana, which is an opening for your inner thighs and your chest. We're going to do this by using most of our props at this point. So you're going to take your blocks and set those one vertically on its medium setting and the other one, horizontally medium setting, vertically right below it on its low setting. And then you'll take your bolster and lay that bolster on top of those props. Okay? Oops. There we go. Then we'll take our blankets and make some nice rolls with those. Those are going to go on either side of the mat. They will support your legs. So when you open up your legs, we're going to be laying down, our knees are bent, and then we're going to open our legs up and we'll have those blankets right underneath. It's a nice support. So this pose, you could be in for 10 minutes if you'd like. We will be here for 3 in this video, so again, feel free to pause it if you'd like. So you'll sit with that bolster right behind you, and then lay back, bringing those blankets, hugging them in toward your hips. Open up your legs, let those blankets support your outer legs. Buns or feet are pressed in together, and then you'll bring your arms out to a T. And again, come back to that nice, long, slow breath. To transition out of this pose, place your hands on the outside of your legs, press them together, move those blankets over to the sides, maybe out of the way just a little bit, roll over to one side, and press yourself up. Again, that pose is traditionally 10 minutes, so if you want to stay in it longer, please do that. Our next pose is legs up the wall, and we'll use the bolster for that so that it will also release some of the muscles in our lower back just a little bit. So take your bolster and place that towards your wall, maybe about a hand width distance. So mine is exactly a hand width distance away. We'll sit with our bottom on the bolster, like so, right toward the edge. It almost feels like you're going to fall off. Lay on top of that bolster. Bring your legs up. Twist your body around. Place that bolster right underneath your sacrum. Legs are up on the wall. Arms are back behind you. If you want, you can take one of your blankets and place that on your abdomen. It's nice to have that added weight. Always feels good. Arms are up behind you, like I said, or if you want, you can bring them to a T. Whatever feels right for your body. On your next exhale, remove that blanket from your abdomen. Bend your knees in towards your chest. Give them a nice big hug. And then roll over to one side, coming off of that bolster. Press yourself up. And then we're going to come to our final pose, which is our Shavasana. And it will be our corpse pose. So we're just going to lay straight out onto the mat. Let our body rest. Let that mat support us all the way from our heels up to our head. So come and lay down. You can spread your legs apart. Arms are away from your body enough so that your shoulders can relax down onto the mat, palms facing up. And then do a scan of your body from your heels, calves, glutes, your back and shoulders, your hands, your arms, your neck, your jaw. Relax the muscles in your face. Soften the area between your eyebrows. Begin to awaken your body by wiggling your fingers and toes, licking your lips and swallowing, taking a full inhale, raising your arms up and overhead and pressing your heels away from you. On an exhale, bending your knees in towards your chest, giving them a nice big hug. Rolling over to one side, making a pillow for your head. Stay here for a few breaths. And then carefully press yourself up to a seated position, placing your hands on your thighs and closing your eyes. Take an inhale, sweeping your arms up and overhead, palms meeting. Exhale, bringing your thumbs all the way down to your heart center and bowing your head. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you take care of yourself with joy. May you be safe. I thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Take care. I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.